By the way, I don't know if you can tell, I have beer glasses on this shirt.
Oh, I could not tell. Damn it.
Yeah, those are it's a Bill Murray shirt, but yeah, those are beer glasses.
That's awesome.
Which is different, as you know, from beer goggles.
As soon as you said beer glasses, I looked at your glasses. I was like, "You're wearing different glasses?" Oh no, they're on your shirt. Got it. Yeah, beer goggles.
Shut up and sit down. And sit down.
What's up, Wisconsin? From the Inside Wisconsin studios, my name is Trevor Thomas, joined each and every week by John Anderson over there in the East. Johnny, how are you?
Why is it you have the Inside Wisconsin studios and I don't have an Inside? Like, isn't technically this is an Inside Wisconsin studio?
You have a beautiful studio. We can all see it there with some shiny things in the background, a Badger helmet and a Brewer's hat. I just happen to build a man cave, and I call it the Inside Wisconsin Studios, and I've got beer and other fun things. That's all.
All right. So like at ESPN, we have this big Studio X, and then we have smaller. So like I'm kind of like in Studio C then. You know,
and I'm Studio X. Is that what it is?
Open up again. I'll show you about the shiny thing you're talking about.
Oh, you're talking about your shiny things. There you go.
See what that is right there? That shiny thing that you're talking about is my Packer helmet signed by all-decade team linebacker in the 80s, John Anderson.
John Anderson signed Packer mini helmet. Outstanding.
Yep. So that's what that is. That's the shiny thing right there. Is the old John Anderson helmet that we've got there.
Yeah. Those other shiny things are pretty impressive, too.
We've got another new episode, and you've got another new flannel shirt. That's exciting.
Thanks for noticing. Appreciate that. Yeah, I purposefully picked out a different one just so you could give me shit about it. That's all.
How big is that? How big a closet do you have for your flannel?
Well, I'm a large individual, John. So I've got a few flannels to choose from. You'll see them go on repeat here over the course of the length of Inside Wisconsin.
How many episodes do we have to do before right now that you'll run out of flannel?
Have you ever heard of Mills Fleet Farm?
Yeah, I'm just talking right now. How many do you have before we have to go to Menards or Fleet Farm or wherever you want to go?
6.
Okay, so we got 6 before we got to either recycle.
Yeah, we got some time,
or get down to the shop and make a new one.
It's flannel season because we're coming into spring, and today's episode is all about the Northwoods, my friend.
I do.
How they wear flannel.
When is it not flannel weather in Wisconsin? And 2, I noticed that you went from having a Leinenkugel or to having your own, liquor beer aisle.
Maybe. It's because we have a very, very special guest that has a lot to do with producing this little friend here. So
what then? I feel like we should then quit just sort of horsing around here and let's get to the star. Listen, people want to hear from Dick Leinenkugel a lot more than they want to hear from you and I, right?
True.
Let's get to the star.
Shut up and sit down.
Dick Leinenkugel joins us, president, 5th generation president of the Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, the only place it's ever been. It started in Chippewa Falls, and it is still today in Chippewa Falls. Dick, thanks for joining us on Inside Wisconsin.
Trevor, great to be here. But the first Leinenkugel brewery was actually in Sauk City, Wisconsin. It was Jacob's dad, Matthias, who came over in 1845. He established a brewery there. I don't know if he called it anything, but he trained all of his boys in the brewing art in Sauk City, Wisconsin. So
and they moved up from Sauk City to Chippewa Falls in 1867. It's all up here.
Well, 1866, they went to his brother's brewery in Eau Claire. But just 13 miles up the Chippewa River was the largest sawmill under one roof, had 2,000 thirsty lumberjacks working in it, no brewery in Chippewa Falls. So, Jacob was not only a good brewer, but an astute business person. So
I really have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, pretty much.
Right. I was going to suggest, how about this? How about we let the guy who's got the last name Leinenkugel see if he can cram 154 years or so of history into a couple of minutes for us, and how it is that we come to this German immigrant who comes in, he's got an idea, let's make beer, and now it is a product that we have nationwide.
Yeah, well, let's skip Prohibition, okay? That period of 1920 through 1933, when the government, basically said we couldn't do what we were doing. But we did stay in business. We made soda pop, near beer, and we made this Kissed sparkling sour a couple of years ago. During our 150th anniversary, I went back, looked at the archives, saw some old advertisements for Kissed sparkling sour, and the tagline was "mixes well with anything." You can imagine that, people were making bathtub gin, vodka, whatever, didn't taste very good. They needed a mixer. That's how we stayed in business.
We're used to people now, like for a while, homemade beer was the thing. Everybody was trying to make it right, and they'd get it sort of right. It tasted horrible, but they gave it to their friends anyway. And once in a while, they did it wrong, and it would like explode and take the cabinets off their garage wall, which was bad. And then you get to sort of microbreweries, which are all the rage now still. But you're way above that. How do we get to a growth where suddenly this is a product that is not just Wisconsin? You take it outside the borders, and eventually you become a lucrative enough target that somebody else wants to buy your brewery.
Well, what happened in coming out of Prohibition, the third generation, got the capital back up. In fact, my great-grandmother, Catherine, and Rose Casper, who was Jacob's daughter, they mortgaged their homes to raise the capital to get the brewing equipment back up and operating. We were one of 735 breweries after Prohibition to start up again. It was really my dad who came back to the company after his service in the Marine Corps in World War II. That was the glue that started on a way of kind of making Leinenkugel synonymous with Wisconsin. My dad worked really hard, sold a lot of beer in northern Wisconsin to those taverns, restaurants, resorts, where people were coming and vacationing from northern Illinois, Chicago, Iowa, Indiana. They discovered this beer in northern Wisconsin called Leinenkugels. They couldn't pronounce it. They would buy returnable cases of beer, take it back across the border, and they weren't able to return the bottles because we didn't have any distribution in Minnesota or Iowa or Illinois. And then my brother Jake comes back to the brewery in the early 1980s after he served in the Marine Corps, and he started selling our Bach beer along the east and west bank of the Mississippi River at the University of Minnesota. And we got a cult following in Minnesota with the students, and it was really Leinenkugel's Bach that put us on the map. Of course, back then, most family-owned breweries were going out of business. There were only about 30 breweries left in the United States in the early 1980s, and this was before the first wave of what we call microbrewing back then. And Miller Brewing Company wrote us a letter. Miller wrote a letter to my dad proposing a joint marketing venture. My dad used to love to tell the story that he took this letter down to Bill Casper. Bill was a grandson of Jacob Leinenkugel. He was our chairman of the board at the time. Bill was about 85 years old, and Bill read the letter. He looked at my dad. He said, "What do you think Miller wants?" My dad goes, "I think they want us to buy them." Well, it was the other way around, and we became a wholly owned subsidiary of Miller Brewing Company. But the strategy was, let's invest in Leinenkugels. Let's keep the family involved. Let's see if we can grow the business. And we started to grow concentrically. We established more distribution in the upper Midwest. And it wasn't until 2007 that we hit upon a product that really put us on the map. And that was our Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. I could tell it was going to be a winner when we first introduced it, and it sold out within 2 months, just in the 3 or 4 states that we had it in distribution. We doubled production the next year, sold out again. But it was this idea of taking a beer, mixing it with something else, in this case, natural lemonade flavor, making it lighter, lower alcohol, about 4.2%. And people just loved it during the warmer summer months. And today, Summer Shandy is over half of our brewery's volume, and it's in all 50 states. So that's the beer that put us on the map and got us nationwide distribution.
Big fan.
So am I.
Yeah. Right. So that it puts you on the map, nationwide, and yet, this is a Wisconsin product through and through. And if you ever want to decide if someone's really from Wisconsin or not, I decide if they say, "Oh, have you tried this Leinenkugel?" I'm like, okay, well then you're not there. You're an out of towner. If you say Liney's, then I'm like, okay, you're probably from within the border.
Yeah. We had, it's interesting you say that, John. It's a good insight because we had a lot of debates. Should we call our beer Liney's? Should we call it, Leinenkugels? And when we talk to drinkers about that, they would say, you should call yourself Leinenkugels. Liney's is our name for you. It's for those that are in the know.
Right.
We can call you Liney's, but we don't want everybody else calling you Liney's.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed with Leinenkugels. We do use Liney's in a few advertisements or a few pieces.
So one thing I was curious on, as you went through the entire history there in your fifth generation and now your kids and a couple of your brother's kids, I mean, the sixth generation is in Leinenkugels today. How did that work? I can't get my kids to put their underwear where I want them to, let alone hand something down through a family for 6 generations. I mean, how have you kept this amazing just product and brand going for 154 years? Is that right?
Well, yeah, 154 years. It's, I didn't come right into the business. After I graduated from Marquette, I went in the Marine Corps, and after the Marines, I went with a sports marketing company. I ran a women's professional golf tournament for 3 years. This business simply wasn't big enough, but and my brother Jake was back there, and the fourth generation, my dad and his cousins were involved in running it. I think, being affiliated with Miller Brewing Company gave us the opportunity to expand distribution, grow the company, make it bigger, allow more opportunities for family members. But it was always important for us and for our corporate parent, for Miller, to keep the Leinenkugel family involved. It's who we are. It's who the brand is. So when Jake retired, my brother John is still in the business with me. I really set upon a succession plan to bring the sixth generation into the business. Matt Leinenkugel, Jake's son, is at our brewery as our safety and special projects manager. His brother Kirk is actually learning to be a brewer. He'll be the first Leinenkugel to actually brew beer in a brewery since Matt Leinenkugel, Jacob's son, back in prior to Prohibition. Ellie Leinenkugel, Jake's daughter's in sales or in marketing in Phoenix. Tony Buer, who is my sister Kate's son, is a distributor sales executive in Dallas. And then my daughter Katie, who started out as a school teacher, became a grade school principal, went back and got her MBA at UT in Austin, joined the company a couple of years ago and is now a brand ambassador and working with our marketing team. So that next generation is what I'm looking forward to in terms of leading this business, because I want to get out and go fishing in Eagle River.
Listen, it's important. It's nice that there are sons in the line to keep the name, right? Which is nothing against your daughter, Katie. But I look at the Bears now and the Hallis name, and it's gone. It's McCaskey's.
Yeah,
Unless you're my age or older, you kind of realize you're like, what's the initial on the sleeve for Hallis? Because there's no Hallises there. It's nice that you have Leinenkugels, and it looks like that there's no pressure on any one guy to keep the name going. But that's
well, it's interesting you say that though, John, because Tony Buer, Bugher, my nephew, this family, the Leinenkugel family, has had other families involved in it. Jacob's daughters, both married, and the Casper family and the Meyer family were also in the business in terms of the second and third generations of leadership. In fact, Paul Meyer was my dad's cousin that was involved in the brewery in the fourth generation. So we've had other family, but they've all been related that are in the business. Now, I was the last Leinenkugel to have a son. My brother Jake has 2 daughters. None of my children are married. My son Jeff isn't. He's a high school teacher in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So that Leinenkugel name is we've got to figure that out. Matt, my brother's kid, has 2 daughters.
Okay.
Kirk's not married yet, so
tight.
we need that 6th generation. Yeah, we're looking for that next Leinenkugel son. But you know what? The business has changed, and the women that are coming into the business, in Ellie and my daughter Katie, they're just fabulous, full of energy, smart, and they're going to be able to lead this company into the 6th generation.
Trevor, I'm going to point out real quick that I know Jeff when I worked on Wipeout with John Hampton, the original one, not the one that's coming out now, the original one, as we like to say, the one that made the next one possible. I met Jeff, who was working for the production company that did that. And because that whole production company on Wipeout had a huge Wisconsin flavor. So many of these guys had gone to Wisconsin, Oshkosh, and the guy, Kevin Wernberg, who was in charge, kind of cycled kids through, like he went looking for them. But I will tell you, and I don't know, Dick, if this is a family secret that we want to keep hidden or whatever, but when he picked me up, he was in a Johan Santana show. He's a Twins fan.
Yeah, no, we're almost all Twins fans. My brother Jake, me. So you got to remember, John, a little bit of Wisconsin history. When did the Braves leave Milwaukee? So it was 1965, right?
Right.
And certainly we grew up hearing about the Braves. My brother did. I mean, in fact, the Braves farm team was in Eau Claire. Hank Aaron played in Eau Claire. Bob Uecker played in Eau Claire. But when the Braves, what's that?
Similar talents.
Yeah, very similar. Joe Torre, Frank Torre, both played in Eau Claire. But anyway, when the Braves left, we were 100 miles from Minneapolis. So that's where our dad took us, and he was an old Washington Senators fan. My dad grew up in Washington D.C., where his dad was a government lawyer. So we grew up hearing about the Twins, went to their games, and saw some great Twins teams. I still remember 1965 when they went to the World Series. I remember the teams of 69 and 70 when they were challenging Baltimore Orioles. And then, of course, winning the World Series in 87, 91. So we've had some great teams. Got to know a lot of the Twins players and over the years, and have remained a Twins fan. But hey, I still follow the Brewers, love the Brewers. We have a relationship with Christian Yelich with the Leinenkugel brand. So he's one of our spokespeople, and we're doing some fun things with Christian.
Well, hey, better the Twins than all the people your age that I grew up with and was raised by, because they all went to the Cubs, and now they're just obnoxious. That's all.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, my mom was a Cubs fan. There was something about that too, and I think it was their broadcast, not only WGN, but Clear radio station 720 at the time, WGN, which reached into northern Wisconsin, so they got to hear the games.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I would love to take extra time, which we don't have, to talk about guys like Tony Oliva and Rod Carew and Harmon Killebrew, but we'd have to educate Trevor on that first, so we don't have time for that. We're gonna have to move forward. So I always tell guys when I want to drink a Leinenkugel, if they don't know it, I always I don't know if I'm telling the truth or it just sounds good. I say, well, this is made from the water of the Big Chippewa River. But it seems to me water is everything in beer. Like, it can adjust the taste all the time. How do you move different spots? How does Miller take over and we consistently it tastes the same bottle after bottle?
Yeah, that's some of the science in terms of brewing. Brewing is an art and a science, and you almost had the reference right, John. We used to say made with the purest spring water in the world from the Big Eddy Springs. That was the spring that Chippewa was built upon, and it was water that came through all the limestone and sand all the way from Lake Superior, and was 99.9997% pure, but also low in mineral content, which was really good for brewing our lager styles of beer. So water can be adjusted at the brewery. So when we brew beer in Milwaukee using Lake Michigan water, from the Milwaukee water department, waters can be adjusted through modern filtration now, and either adding or taking out chemicals to make it perfectly pH balanced. That's what you're looking for. So it's part of the science of brewing.
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick time out. We're back with Dick Leinenkugel in just a moment, because we've got a lot more to talk about. Like, first off, how do you just make a lot of beer? That there's people that need this. So we'll take a break, go refresh yourself, and we'll be back momentarily.
Shut up and sit down.
Helpful critiques, ideas, great stories, people we should know, the great bar in your town, the fish fry you want to know, the fish boil, anything that you want to reach out to us with. We are happy. We are here. You can be the inputters. We're here to listen.
Shut up and sit down.
Back with more on Inside Wisconsin while Trevor is getting sloshed. John Anderson here along with Dick Leinenkugel. Tell me this, it's 154 years. How closely does the original that we drink today, I mean, provided you can get it, and we'll get to trying to get it to different mirror the recipe, today's recipe to what you had back when this thing started?
Well, same recipe. It's, using the same malt, scaled to the, different brewing size now. Same cluster hops. So the same ingredients, same yeast strain. But the reality is it probably tastes a whole lot different. Today's modern brewery in terms of process control is head and shoulders over what it used to be. You mentioned the home brewing, John, and that's kind of a crapshoot. You're kind of doing it, and there's some guys that are really good at it. I tend to just use the kits. It's kind of like making mac and cheese from a box, and it usually turns out pretty good. But today's modern processes, it's all process controlled. The brewer is actually sitting behind 3 different computer screens, and all the waters, all the temperature is all process controlled right now. So it's consistent and from batch to batch, and it probably tastes a whole lot different. In fact, our Leinenkugel's original now that I remember from when I was going to school at Marquette is so much cleaner in terms of its taste profile, holds up so much better, and just is a much better product. That's the truth. That's the reality.
Let me follow up real quick, Trevor, on that, because I'm close to the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield. And,
been there.
The original rules of basketball, as Dr. Naismith wrote them down, the family had them forever, and I think they're now on display there. They have been. I don't know if it's permanent, but does somebody have the original recipe? Do they have is there some document, something that we have that we should have under glass, like the Constitution? If I go to the lodge, I can see that.
If there is, I've never seen it. It was all hand me down.
You're doing it by memory?
Brewer to brewer. And, Jacob to, God, who was it? His son, Matt. Then Matt, after Prohibition, to a guy named Conrad Schmidt. And then Elmer Baseman to Dale Burrow to John Burrow to our current master brewer, John Hensley. All been passed on. But I can show you a book of the different recipes. When you come to Chippewa Falls, they're all out there telling you how much malt to add, how much hops to add, when to, so it's available now.
I'm not into the participation thing. I like the finished product, and you just bring it to me.
Well, we'll just go to the bar then.
Yeah, right. I don't go to cook your own steak places either. Just me. I don't need audience participation.
So we've talked a lot about how these beers taste, and of the Leinenkugel brand, there are so many beers over the years that you guys have created. My favorite is Oktoberfest. I absolutely love that Marzen style beer. September, October, I wish it was all year round. It's not. Summer Shandy almost is, but it's not. That's my favorite. John and I, later in today's show, are going to talk about the top 5 Wisconsin tailgate essentials. And I'm curious, what is your most memorable tailgate or sporting event here in Wisconsin that you can tell us a story about, whether it was a Packer game or a Brewer game or whatever the case may be? What's the most memorable tailgate Dick Leinenkugel has ever been at?
So one just came to mind. I do love tailgating at Lambeau, and try to do that once a year with some good friends. We'll pick a game, hopefully when it's warm, or the first gold package game, usually in September. Try to do that. Unfortunately, not able to do it this year, but that's just so much fun to walk around and see what everybody's doing there and enjoying a beer. But the most memorable tailgate was this tailgate, where it was a beautiful July night at Old County Stadium. It was not Miller Park. And we went down to the stadium, and so it was the mid-90s. And the Brewers, and I forget who they were playing, but we grabbed some pizzas from Ballesteries, And for some reason, we had some beers, but we also were making some margaritas. And so we had some beers and margaritas, attended the game, and then we came out after the game, and it was just one of these great summer nights, 70 degrees, full moon, and we said, let's let the traffic clear. And then we finished the margaritas. And I remember saying to my buddy, look at that moon. Look at that moon. And thankfully, my wife, Jean, had not been drinking, so she was able to get us home. But I remember that night trying to get up the stairs to our bedroom, and it was the fun house. The stairs were swinging from left to right, and I could not get up the stairs, and I just slept downstairs. And it made for a bad Sunday morning where I had to cut the grass and not feeling so well. So I'm sticking with beer from now on.
Oh,
Deal.
these things happen.
Greatest tailgate, Trevor.
That's
awesome.
That's how we all learn. So that sounds great. But you said you like get out on the water and fish. Give me like a great Wisconsin day for you, if you could. We're knocking off work, and I'm going to go do what?
Why are we knocking off work? I mean, let's not work in the first place, John.
Very good.
So, well, the day's got to begin like this. First of all, I'm going to go into Quick Trip and, buy some Leinenkugel's beer and some ice. So to make sure that I'm fully stocked, might buy a breakfast sandwich or, a box of their donuts. And then we're going to, Glazers. We're going to buy some Glazers. And then we're going to come back. We're going to get all the fishing gear ready, throw it in the back of the car. I'm going to join my buddy. He's going to haul our fishing boat, which we own together. We're going to go to a great lake. We're going to get out on that lake, and we're going to go to our favorite walleye location to test that out. And hopefully the first cast is going to catch us a fish or two. And then, we're going to bask in the sun, enjoy some beers together. And that's going to be a great Wisconsin day.
Where do I go if I'm in your town for a fish fry on Friday?
I would highly recommend the Honey Bear in Eagle River, Wisconsin. The Honey Bear not only has a lot of our great Leinenkugel's beers on draft, but their baby walleye is absolutely tremendous. Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, I'm going to recommend Loopy's. Loopy's Bar and Grill, great place to go, and fabulous fish fry. And Loopy is just a really good bar owner. He has a lot of fun. He has a dome in the winter with 3 volleyball courts, and he's also a good fan of our Leinenkugels beers. So those are the two places in Chippewa Falls and Eagle River.
Do you find when you go out and about and see where the product is? I think of when the bar scene as it is, and so maybe I think it's unique and maybe it's not, but the sort of the tavern culture of Wisconsin is different. Like around here, I don't know of a single bar here in Connecticut where the family lives upstairs. And I think that's probably dying out. But I show my age at 55, right? It's a different thing, the tavern culture. You mentioned you go to Loopy's Bar and Grill, and I don't know that they serve 5-7 days a week, but they do Friday night. That's a unique kind of cultural bit in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's part of the small town, rural communities where, they're basically farming communities. And there was a church, a gas station, maybe 2 churches, gas station, and 10 bars, that were in these small towns. And you're right, John. I mean, still today there are bars or taverns in some of these rural areas where the owners are living out back or upstairs. There are a lot of great bars in some of the great old eastern cities. You think of Boston, New York City, even Washington, D.C., still have some kind of historic type places. But in the upper Midwest, you're right. There's a certain culture, and it's really here in Wisconsin as well.
A couple of things I want to get to. When we come back, we're gonna lighten the questioning a little bit, less in depth. But I still want to talk about, if we can, Dick. I want to know a little bit more about Eagle River, because if you haven't been to the World Snowmobile Derby, that's something. And two, that I think would be great to talk about, because as you mentioned, members of your family, there seems to be two things that run through. There's beer and there's the Marines. And I'd love to talk about your service a little bit if we could. So we'll be back with Dick Leinenkugel right after this.
Shut up and sit down.
Helpful critiques, ideas, great stories, people we should know, the great bar in your town, the fish fry you want to know, the fish boil, anything that you want to reach out to us with. We are happy. We are here. You can be the inputters. We're here to listen.
Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back to Inside Wisconsin. Amazing chatter with Dick Leinenkugel today. We talked to him a little bit ago about our top 5 Wisconsin tailgate essentials. This clearly has to be on the list. John, I'd like for us to just chit-chat here a minute, and then we'll get back to Dick Leinenkugel about those tailgate stories that he talked about. I got to be honest, margaritas didn't make my list. But no. I'm curious, what are the top 5 essentials that we think you have to have at every Wisconsin tailgate?
Listen, when you first broached this topic with me, I said, I don't need 5, I need 2. I need fire and I need beer. And if I have those 2 things, then I'm fine. So I got to have beer, right?
Got to have beer. Yep.
And
number 1.
Great tailgate, what I want to have is enough beer so that if somebody comes by, that I can say, stop and have a beer with us, right? This isn't bring your own. Okay, this whole BYOB, bring enough for everybody. It's sort of like when you had to bring gum at school or candy. Bring enough for everybody. You never know when there might be a nice person walking by. There'd be somebody like, you want to be able to be hospitable.
True.
So I got to have
tailgate.
Okay, then I'm going to have cheese. Okay,
all right.
I don't want one of these fancy cheese board. So I'm very Spartan in what I need. So I need beer. I need cheese. I don't need a cheese board. I don't need 9 kinds of cheese. I need
charcuterie.
I need a sharp cheddar. I'll take the ton of spreadable cheese on a club cracker or on a Ritz or something like that.
Yeah.
So those things I think would be you can't argue with those 2, right? I think we have. Okay. What else? Give me something else you're putting on there, because we need some sort of meat.
Well, you have to have brats.
Yeah.
It's beer, it's cheese, and it has to be brats.
Yeah, that's very Wisconsin. Now, I'll be honest. If there's a nice Italian sausage, I would go for that over the brat.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I would. And I don't want. First off, no free shout outs, but I don't know who's going to end up sponsoring the show. So if it wants to be a Johnsonville or a Usinger, we're good. You know
whose brat is coming first is my cheddar venison bratwurst. That's to the first tailgate until we get a sponsor, and then we're going to bring theirs.
Okay, yeah, because
venison.
You went and shot it, and it's filling up your freezer out in the garage. So you got to we got to make space for that. I need a sausage of some sort.
Amen.
Right.
And all right. So here's one more. This might be a little intriguing. I'll throw another one out there. You got beer, you got cheese, you got brats.
Yep.
I love having a ball at a tailgate. And I'm not talking about the party. I mean a football or a baseball and a glove. You got to bring a ball of some kind to a tailgate.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I didn't know we were bringing our sporting equipment. I was thinking more culinary, but that, yeah, totally. You got it, whatever it would be. The nice thing about sport, the sports, the ball is usually there's some kid there. Again, long as there's one in your area, hopefully everybody,
over here, hit me.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we have that. Then I need to have something sweet. I'm skipping, but this one I know has to be on there. And my favorite is if you take the candy corn and you mix it with the dry roasted peanut and just throw it in the big Ziploc bag. And to me, that's like human
trail mix.
Yeah, but it's not the trail mix can be healthy for you, right? They put that kind of I don't want that. I want this is totally eating a payday bar out of a bag. I feel like whenever I eat it, because one, I can't stop, but I feel like I'm up in Door County at the farm and I'm one of them goats that the kids are eating. You just like that out of your hand, or like you're feeding some wild animal. So that would be my go-to there. It's quick, it's dirty. I put it in the big gallon Ziploc bag and I have that with me. So that's in mine. And so now my fifth thing that I need to have, and like I said, if you have a different suite, if you want to bring a glazer, God bless you.
Thank you.
Is I don't mind a little chili.
Okay.
Now I got to bring some more stuff, or
pain in the ass.
Yeah, or to kind of go with my cheese, I just like a big old hunkin' summer sausage, and I'm just going to lop some off and eat that as I go through. So those are things I put. I want beer, cheese. I need a sausage of something on the grill. I would like to just have a little sweet nosh there that I can have. I don't need a big dessert. I don't need a cookie display. And then I would like probably a summer sausage.
And if I had to add one thing that's non-culinary along with the ball and a good time, you got to have music, man. They're the best tailgates at.
I have that as a given. That of course,
all right.
A boombox.
Yeah, up here. Yeah.
If you're going to really have it Wisconsin-y, you got to have a polka in there once in a while just to liven things up. Right?
Don't spin too fast though, because you have too many of these, and you do the polka thing, and things get weird in a hurry.
You do have to worry about that. That's
listen.
Sure.
If you can tailgate with only one thing, it's this. You can tailgate with just beer.
I like to think that if I have a cooler of beer and I'm walking around, I am just a mobile tailgate party. I'm a one-man mobile tailgate unit. The other thing that maybe factors in here is time of day. You got a noon start at Lambeau, and all of a sudden I'm in, what's the parking lot open 2 hours in the morning? 2 hours,
for sure.
Maybe 3. You're 9 or 10. That changes the menu than if I got a Sunday night game or a Monday night game and I don't go until 7 o'clock. Right? Do I have a little different menu?
Gotta be honest, that doesn't stop many Wisconsinites from cracking this out at 8 in the morning.
That's where they came up with the slogan, "It's night somewhere." Yeah, that's not a problem anywhere. I'm just, I'm not sure, the 10 a.m. bratwurst, then for sure I'm going to the sausage. Where, otherwise I might, can we fry up some bacon somewhere? Can I get a little something else? Can I get a sausage patty?
Bring out the Blackstone.
Just a little. That's all I'm saying.
That's awesome.
That's what that's my thought. Listen, the nice thing about that is literally tailgates are to taste. But if you got
tailgates are the same and they all fit in as long as it's done in a parking lot of one of our amazing sporting venues here in Wisconsin. And bring some Leinenkugel. Speaking of, let's get back to Dick, shall we?
Shut up and sit down.
Incredibly grateful to Dick Leinenkugel, president of the Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company up in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, for your time and all the conversation. I still want to test the little German language knowledge here as we kind of wrap up. There's a couple words like Prost.
Hablo español.
Yeah. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But Dick, you mentioned, and John just did as we were kind of going to break, there's a lot of service. John, talk to us a little bit about what you know from Dick's service in the Marine Corps, and it sounds like there's a little bit of history in the family too with some service. But go ahead. Well,
that's just what I want to know. Like it appears that beer runs through the family, and Semper Fi. I don't know if that is by coincidence or by design or inspired by generations.
Yeah, I think it was inspired by our father, Bill. Who served as a Marine in World War II, John, and we kind of grew up hearing about the Marines, and he was a member of the Chippewa Valley Marine Club, one of the founding members. And so, I remember the Marine Corps birthday, every November 10th, my mom and dad would go to a ball. And so the Marines was kind of part of my life. My brother, Jake, was training to be a Marine officer. And actually, when he didn't graduate from the University of Wisconsin in Madison, after going there for 6 years, he was on the Bluto program. He ended up going in the Marines, enlisted, and then got his college degree at Pepperdine, and then got his commission as a Marine officer. I followed in those footsteps and went to Naval ROTC program. So I had a scholarship to Marquette University and went Marine Corps option and became a Marine officer in 1980, served through 1984. 2 of Jake's boys have subsequently served. His son, Matt, who is currently with us at Leinenkugels, served as a sergeant of Marines. And his son, CJ, actually served in Iraq in the war. CJ is not with us at the Leinenkugel family, but he's also in beer. He's with Hofbräu, that great German brewer from Munich. and CJ sells for them here in the U.S. So we do have a family of Marines, and I think it was inspired by our dad, Bill.
Well, it's a wonderful legacy, and I say this not at all. We joke about the beer and the Lineys, tongue in cheek. That's great that you give us that, but the people that give us that service and allow us, the freedom and the protections to go down to the tavern and have that beer. Certainly, we are grateful for that and all the members of the family that have certainly done that. So, and as we talk to you and we talk about Chippewa Falls, but you're in Eagle River.
Yeah, so the brewery in Chippewa Falls, I had a home in Chippewa Falls, and we're spending more time not traveling as much now with the pandemic. So my wife and I made the move here at the end of the year to come up to Eagle River and sold our home in Chippewa Falls. I'm still getting back to the brewery in Liney Lodge, and hopefully when travel comes back, I'll be getting back out to the markets and seeing our distributors and key customers and retail accounts and enjoying some beers with everybody. But we decided to come up here to Eagle River, where we had a vacation home on a lake, and love this area of northeast Wisconsin. It's an area about 4 hours from Milwaukee, 3 hours from Green Bay, maybe 4.5 hours from Minneapolis. But it's in Vilas County, it has 1,100 inland lakes. So you can imagine there's a lot of water, a lot of things to do in winter, fall, spring, and summer, of course, but love this area.
So in winter, we've got the snowmobile, World Snowmobile Derby, which, and here's what I know about this. This is for my friends that work in the business. And now, because the NFL schedule has changed, it's gotten back and back. It's pushed back farther, but it used to be always the same weekend as the Super Bowl.
Generally the weekend right before. The World Championship Derby. Yeah,
but there was a time where guys that I know, one guy, if anybody goes way back in TV in Green Bay, there was a guy named Al Jerkins, Big Al, who I ended up working with for many years in Tulsa. But Big Al used to say that every once in a while when it would fall on the Super Bowl, they would have a coin flip. And the guy who won the coin flip would stay and anchor the show and do the Super Bowl stuff. And the other poor guy had to go out to Eagle River and shoot this snowmobile derby. And it would be cold, and back then the batteries would die, so you'd have to, after every other race, go back in, start the car, put the batteries on the heater so that they would recharge just from the thawing, and then you'd have to, and it was the most miserable experience. And he's like, people think that the coin flip between the Suns and the Bucks for Lou Alcindor was really, a lot riding on it. He's like, you've never had to flip for, do I go to Eagle River or do I stay the Super Bowl? And guys went after that. So we're going to wrap this up, and we've got some quick questions for you, some things hopefully a little off the wall, some things that hopefully will bring a smile to your face, and the people are listening. And Trevor has just been dying because he's been on his phone with his German to English app, or I don't know, some people still have maybe you have the actual volume dictionary. But Trevor, why don't you start this? Give them a few, and then I'll fire some.
All right, I'm curious for both of you now. What is Prost? We all know it. We
cheers.
Say
cheers.
Prost is cheers, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned it earlier. Oktoberfest is a Marzen style lager. What does Marzen mean in German?
Marzen is March.
It is March. John, you're not going to guess at all, are you?
No. Like I said, when you get to Fraulein, we'll catch up.
Deal. Few more. So, Dick, I grew up in southeast Wisconsin in a little town named Jefferson. And in Jefferson, we celebrate Gemütlichkeit days, or Gemütlichkeit in the original language. Any idea what Gemütlichkeit means?
Well, it is fun, frivolity, cheer. Gemütlichkeit is a feeling of partying, is how I can best describe it.
Yep. That's pretty much it. I have no idea how any work got done in Jefferson on a Monday because it was a hell of a party. That is for sure. Two more real quick.
Do you know any of the Bentheimers from Jefferson? Trevor?
I do. Yeah.
So old-time distributor. Jerry was our old-time distributor. And it's funny story, quick story. When my dad used to drive me down to Marquette, he said, Dick, you never pass a distributor without stopping. So we'd stop in Baraboo and see C&H distributing, and then we'd stop in Jefferson, Wisconsin, and see Bentheimer distributing. So that, usually 4-hour drive would end up being a 6-hour drive to Milwaukee.
That's the homeland. That's awesome. No margaritas, though. Thank God.
No.
All right. 2 more. Spots.
Spots. I don't know.
Sports.
Ah,
Thought maybe John would have got that one. No, not so much.
I don't
Last
work
one.
Sports Center. I work on Sports Center. I don't know if you've ever.
Spots.
Spots Center.
Mm.
Last one. Ausschlossen.
Ausschlussen. Ausschlussen. I'm going to say it's Ausschlussen. Water sports.
Very close. Ausschlossen in German. In English is wipeout.
Ooh. Ooh. That's not bad.
Yeah,
Ausschlossen.
yeah. I didn't know that you could listen. That'll never fit on the T-shirts and the marketing. That's for sure. It's funny,
So,
like,
John, can you tell me if this story is correct? My son Jeffrey, I think, picked you up at the airport, took you to the studio.
sure.
You and Henson, was it?
John Henson.
Yeah. We called him Skunk Boy because he had this patch of white hair.
Yep, that's the name of the corporation, Skunk Boy Inc.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Did not know that, but that's what my wife and I called him. You guys then would sit there for what, 3 or 4 days and go through all the episodes and lay down all the tracks, right? You would watch it. You weren't actually on the set watching any of this live. You would just watch it and then cut all of it.
So John lives in LA and would go out on occasion and they would write things for him to be on the course.
Okay.
I did 130 some episodes over 7 years, and I was at the Wipeout course twice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Twice.
Jean and I, my wife and I, got to go see it and actually watch them film something.
One more time.
Now, who is the one? Jill
Wagner, wonderful woman.
Okay.
Had a baby, not Marines, had a daughter, but named her Army. Her dad served well, and that's her daughter's name. So I've only done that twice, but it's great, Trevor, that they have a translation for that. I went to the Brewers game. They played down in Hermosillo, Mexico one time. I was covering the Diamondbacks, and I still have the press pass, and it says Diamondbacks, Arizona, and then Brewers, it says Cerveceros, which translates to the beer makers. So that the
Brewers actually did a uniform based on that.
Yeah, I have a Cerveceros shirt when it comes to that.
Cool.
But yeah, so we would sit there and we do about 4 episodes in a day. I'd fly out, and one afternoon we would do all the on-camera stuff, and then we would spend 2.5 days sitting there, just watching 2, 3, 4 minute segments of it, and then recording it and taping it because you can't do it in real time. At least we couldn't.
Right.
So.
Right.
All right, Trevor, if you're done, I'm going to throw a few quick ones at you, and we'll see what happens. Okay. First off, in Titanic, Jack Dawson is from Chippewa Falls. My guess is true or false, he would drink Leinenkugels.
He would drink Leinenkugels if he was age. Remember, he was very young, but I'm sure his dad, who took him ice fishing when he fell into Lake Wissota, and that's how he knew the water was cold. So, John, you do know that is a movie faux pas.
That's listen, but this is not if you're from Wisconsin.
No, it is.
That's
so Lake Wissota was not formed until 1919 when they dammed up the Chippewa River and the Yellow River to form Lake Wissota. So the Titanic sunk in 1913, 1912. So that whole reference to Lake Wissota and Chippewa Falls was incorrect.
Damn it.
Yep.
But I think don't you think they got the larger part right, which is in the boat sank?
Yeah, they got that right. Yeah. James Cameron got that right, but
is what I'm thinking. So along that lines, how old were you when you first got to taste the family product?
Probably a couple of days old. I think I had to be kept in the hospital a little bit longer. But my dad has this tradition, and he did it with all of our kids, of dipping his finger in a bottle of Leinenkugels and then, putting it to our lips, to our mouths.
Wow.
One quick story there, though. Us 4 kids, so my sister Kate, Lynn, Jake, and I, this is before my brother John was born, on Sunday afternoons, my dad, who would travel throughout Wisconsin, would bring back these different beers from throughout the state. So Chief Oshkosh, Old Potosi, Point, Rhinelander, Brunings, whatever. And he would blindfold us. True story. Blindfold us, pour out 2 different beers. One of them was Leinenkugels. The other was the other beer. and he was training us to pick out Leinenkugels. So I was doing that at probably age 6 or 7, and in these little juice glasses. And all of us kids, we had to smell the beer and say which one was Leinenkugels.
That is fantastic. It's like the moms who can pick out their penguin youngster on the ice cap, even though they all look the same, and we can just put that in front of you and you can identify it. How many beers, 12-ounce beers in a keg?
Oh gosh, that's really a good question. So 200, approximately 200 is about 167 16-ounce and a half barrel. So I'm going to say 200 12-ounce beers.
The research I did produced 164.
I think that might be a pint, though. That might be 16 ounces. But okay, I'm with you. So 164 times 12 is how many ounces? Is it 1,998?
There be no math. But listen,
how many ounces are in a half barrel?
There are 13.778 cases in a barrel. So 6.778 cases in a half barrel.
So I remember from my
12 ounce. Yeah.
I thought from my distribution days, it was, and I don't know why I remember this, it was like 1,982 ounces per half barrel. And I believe that's the math that you were just saying, John, was divide that by 12. It's 165 and some change, minus a little head and some spillage.
You're good.
First off,
better than I am.
I didn't mean to open it up for that much debate. I feel bad. And 2, I'm going to go with the Leinenkugel answer. I'll pretend that I am wrong. That's fine. I want to
No. So, it is a math equation. We need to be right on math. There's no ambiguity in math, John.
Better mode of transportation, canoe or Clydesdale?
Oh, no question, canoe.
Yeah, get a panel there. I've got tickets to the Brewers, the Bucks, and the Packers. Which one of those you want to go to with me?
With you, I'll go to the Brewers because baseball is one of those things where you can sit down and talk and enjoy the game.
Love it.
And you can have a couple of beers. And I'm going to go with baseball.
Okay, you go to Marquette your freshman year, yes.
Yeah, we won it all.
Title, yes.
1977 won the NCAA.
Where were you for the game?
So watching it in McCormick Hall on the 11th floor, which no longer exists, by the way. Marquette tore it down in 2019. The new business building is going to go there. But anyway, McCormick Hall, and back then, universities had no clue what to do with their students, right? I mean, nothing was planned. So everybody comes rushing out of the dorms. The bars are packed. So somebody has the great idea, let's march down to the lakefront. Okay, so 2,000 students march down Wisconsin Avenue to the lakefront. So what do you do when you get to the lakefront? You turn around and you head back. Then somebody gets the idea, let's go out to the airport. So we pile into whoever has cars. We were freshmen. None of us had cars, buses, whatever we could go. We got in a car, head out to the airport. You can look this up, but I think Marquette students or other people did a lot of damage to the airport. I want to say it was $10,000, taking stuff down, whatever. Back then, there was no security, right? I mean, you went to the gate, and we greeted the team when they came back. Thankfully, Marquette did cancel classes the next day. So, but I just remember kind of being up all night after we got back from the airport.
Yeah, that was a terrific time. And Trevor, I don't know if you know who Butch Lee is or Bernard Toon or Jerome Whitehead, but we'll save that for another show.
Bo Ellis.
Pardon me?
Bo Ellis. Gary Rosenberger. Yeah, good team. Jim Boylan. Jim, I think, still coaching, isn't he?
He's still out there. Ulyss Payne was on that team.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Ulyss was undergrad, though. He was maybe a sophomore. Yeah.
Yep, he was there. So last thing I have is tell me this one. Harder to spell, Leinenkugel or Antetokounmpo?
Oh, Antetokounmpo. Yeah, no question. I can't believe I pronounced his name.
Trevor, you want to give it a shot?
I always just say, just so my daughters correct me, I say Giannis.
Sure, I'll give it a shot.
It's Giannis.
That's funny.
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear
I'll give it a
Trevor.
shot, and I can confirm my 10-year-old knows how to spell it, and I hear it often. So I'm not going to get it right, but I'm hopefully going to get close. Antetokounmpo. It's A-N-T, A-N-T-E-N-K-O-U-K-O-P-O-M-O.
Wow. Honestly, I don't even know what word you just spelled there.
You're welcome.
Other than the first letters. I will tell you this. It's Antetokounmpo. So it's the standard Greek spelling of Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, Greek to me.
When I have to type it for SportsCenter, I literally type A-N-T, then I hit the shift bar, and I just run my finger across the numbers, and then I put P-O, which is exactly how I spell Krzyzewski. I put K-R-Y, and I just run it across, and I put ski, because I'm not in the business of that. So
awesome.
Dick Leinenkugel, you have been tremendous. You have been informative. It was so great that you could spend time with us. I love that we robbed an extra 15 minutes from you. We appreciate your patience on that. And it is terrific. Continued success. And then if we can just figure out how to get the original here in Connecticut, then I will have a perfect Wisconsin day.
Yeah, well, get back to Green Bay, John, and come back to Wisconsin. We'll have plenty of original and perhaps some other beers. Look for a couple of new beers this year that should be coming to Connecticut. So our Leinenkugel Session Helles and Leinenkugel's Lemon Haze IPA should be making its way, and you should have good distribution on Leinenkugel Summer Shandy out there. So get to that Town and Country Discount Liquor or Total Wine and More, and you should be able to find it.
Luckily, I know where those places are. You guys, I don't know if you GPS me or what, but I'm glad you're looking out for me, and I appreciate it.
Happy to do so.
Shut up and sit down.
Honestly, I can see myself at the Liney Lodge, Trevor. I can see myself at the Honey Bear, just shooting the bull with Dick Leinenkugel at length.
Belly up with Dick Leinenkugel. It could not be much better than that, whether it's in Eagle River or in Chippewa or at the Liney Lodge or Loopy's or the Honey. I mean, it doesn't matter. Have you ever gone to the Liney Lodge, John?
I have not made it. I will tell you this though. I came home one time, and I want to say I was in Phoenix, and for some reason I had to stop in Minnesota. And so I drove back and I got there and my mom's like, "Oh, you made pretty good time." And I said, "Honestly, I'd have been here like an hour sooner, except when I went through Chippewa Falls, I got my lips, they froze to the tap outside of the brewery at Leinenkugel's. And by the time I could extricate myself without, doing it, then I was late. So we got home. So I've never been to the lodge, but I've driven through and I've seen the brewery.
It's beautiful. The lodge is awesome. All the taps are there. It looks like a log cabin clearly, and it's a good time in the store and all that. Hey, speaking of the lodge and the brewery real quick, I just want to mention, I know that Leinenkugel's is doing a virtual brewery tour and tasting with Katie Leinenkugel. That's Dick Leinenkugel's daughter, coming up April 21st. So more information on that can be found at liney.com. I'm going to do it, I think. I'm going to register and do a virtual brewery tour and tasting with Katie. I mean, we'll go through this pack and the one that I put on the floor, maybe a couple spritzins here and some summer shandies. So that was awesome. That doesn't get much more Wisconsin than Dick Leinenkugel, man.
Great to see you. Great to visit with you. A great hour with Dick Leinenkugel. Great hour on Inside Wisconsin. Can't wait until the next episode. Can't wait to see the next shirt. Be good, my friend.
Be good, as you were, Wisconsin.
Shut up and sit down.
I like to think my tailgates are like church. All are welcome here. It's like a church communion table. Some got to be more. Some places have more strict ramifications, more strict guidelines. At our place, every time I hear the preacher, the priest stand up there, the minister, and he says, "This is God's table. All are welcome here." That's sort of how I feel about my tailgates. All are welcome here. We'll bring them all.
Common cup's probably not a good idea at the moment, but
so you're not gonna pass around the old cup, but we'll do that. So
shut up and sit down.